Hello everybody, today we are going to be going over how to set up Sketchup to use for Hot2000 for modeling files if you are in Canada and are an energy advisor. So we're going to start with just setting it up so that it defaults to feet instead of inches. Then we're going to go over a tool that you can use to get the volume of the house pretty simply. And then after that we will get into making sort of a template that'll have color codes and stuff like that. So essentially, we are going to be going from how to have a SketchUp, so how to have a SketchUp that looks like this, to a SketchUp that looks like this. And it's not going to be that much more work once you've got everything set up. So the nice thing about this is it lets you get your perimeters and surface areas super easily. And then back here you can see we've got the volume as well as the height of highest ceiling above grade. So to jump into it, we'll just start with a fresh SketchUp. You can be using SketchUp Make 2017, that is the free version. There's other versions out there, they update it every year, but then you have to pay like a monthly fee. So when you first start up, it's going to look something like this. You're going to maybe have a default template set up. There's multiple templates down here. Doesn't matter which one you pick because we're going to just change it once we get into it. So we'll just say start using SketchUp, and then it's going to open up. And it's going to look something like this. So by default, if we use the line tool, which is up here, oh, and I should mention, first time ever you open SketchUp, it's probably going to look like this. So get this instructor. So right now I'm on the select tool, which is the little mouse arrow up on the top, and it shows you how to use it, and it gives you all the modifier keys and everything. If we click on the line tool, you'll see it also does the other, gives us all the other information as well. We're going to close that for now, and you do want to have the entity info tab open, and we're eventually going to be using the materials tab to set up our template. So, but just to set up a basic template, so first I'll show you guys. We draw a line. You want to draw a line either on the green axis or red axis so that everything stays at 90-degree turns. So if we draw, say we draw this, you can see in the bottom right corner, it says that our length, so if I just click on the line, it's going to show it to us up here now. And you can see our length is 6 feet, 9 inches, and 9/16 of an inch. I want it to show me 6.7, whatever it's going to be. So what we need to do is go up into Window, and then we're going to go into Model Info, and then we're going to switch our units. So if it's not on Units, click Units. We're going to go to Engineering, and then I'm going to set it to 2 decimal places. So now when I click on the line, you'll see up here, it just gives us 6.8 feet. Which in Hot2000, we use heights and perimeters, so you'll be putting in, say, like 8 feet. This wall is 8 feet tall, and the length is 6.8 or whatever. So it just makes things a little handy. You don't have to keep dividing all the fractions. So if this is as far as you want to go, just make sure that line's deleted. You can delete the man for scale if you want to, or leave them in, whatever, it doesn't matter. And then all you're going to do is go File, Save as Template. Let's name it, say we call it template, and then tab off or just click off of the name area. Then it's going to let us save it, and you want to make sure set as default template so that every time you just open SketchUp, you don't have to choose a template. You can just come in, open it up, it'll be good to go. Everything will be set in feet. Or, you know, if you use meters, feel free to change it to meters, etc. Yeah, so the next thing we're going to do is go over this tool here. This is the solid inspector. So if we have, say we've got a building that we've drawn, and I'm just going to keep this nice and simple for now. So let's say we've got something like this. We've got a skinny little long house. We've got either a basement or a main floor and a second floor or whatever, doesn't matter. You'll see if I triple click it to highlight the whole thing, and you right click, you say make group. And then up here, you'll get the volume, but in order to get the volume, the entire building needs to be hollow. But every time you draw, one sec here, explode, you'll see it adds a floor every time you draw up to where there's another line. So if we delete all those floors, then we can come in here, fill in the top again, a triple click, go make group, we get our volume right up here in the top right, underneath the entity info. But if we didn't want to have to, say, delete all those lines, so if, or all those surfaces if they're in there, Now I can triple click, right click, make group, and then I can just click this little tool and say fix all, and bam, it gives us the volume. So it's not too hard to get the volume on a simple rectangle, but if you've got, slope ceilings and all kinds of things going on with a house, then the Solid Inspector tool will just save you lots of time. And you can just use it every time, so you don't have to go in and delete all the interior surfaces that are in the model, because it does have to be hollow to get the volume. So to install this tool, if you have an account, you can just go, and accounts are free, to sign up with your email and password. We would go to the extension warehouse, and then we'll just search for Solid Inspector. It'll probably come up. So we'll click on that. And then there's two versions. I recommend installing the newer one, which is Solid Inspector Squared. So you'd click that, you'd say install. I'm not logged in, so I'm not gonna be able to do that. And then once it's in there, you would go and open your extension manager and make sure it's enabled. And then once it's enabled, the first time you open it, it's not going to appear up here in the top toolbar. It's probably just going to show up right on your model somewhere. So what you can do is just click it, drag it up, and pin it to your top toolbar. And then now, whenever you open SketchUp, that tool is going to be there and available for you to use. So let's get into making a more complicated template. We're just going to delete that. We're going to start from scratch. And the basic, simple way to make a template, we're just going to make a little rectangle like so. And then the point of this is we're going to have a couple different colors we're going to use in order to distinguish different components of the house. So say, we'll be able to distinguish the foundation from the main floor. So say and also on the main floor, say we've got like vinyl as well as brick or stone siding, or just different makeups like a 2x4 wall versus a 2x6. You need to break those components out separately in Hot 2000. So having a color code makes things simple. It just makes it easy to look at the model, and you're not going to forget any different wall areas that you need to enter separately in Hot 2000. So we're going to call this red one. This is going to be our brick. And then we'll do a couple more. So let's say we go down, get yellow, copy and paste. And then we also want maybe a brown for below grade. So let's see, where's brown? Brown for below grade. And then headers or rim joists, so where the floor sits on the foundation or where the second floor sits on the main floor. I just leave those white because when you're drawing it, they're usually quite tiny. They're only 10 inches tall to a foot sometimes. So rather than have to color in all those lines, I just use white because that's the default color when we build the model anyway. And then, so let's say that's good enough for now. So what we would do is we come over, use the text tool up at the top here, click in the middle of the surface, pull over, click again, and we will label this brick. And then we will label this one, maybe this is our wood siding. Call this below grade, etc., etc. And then what you would do, or what I like to do, is I just box the whole thing in. Oh, that wasn't on the green line, so that'll just be a little wonky. Green, make sure it's red. And then if you're coming up on the green axis, again, if you hold shift, it'll lock it on the green. And then if you actually come up to this endpoint on the other side, it'll make it the exact same length. Then we can close it off. Now we've got what looks a little bit like a legend now. So we'll go up to tools, we'll go to 3D text, and we'll call this our color legend. Then we'll click place, and we'll set it down somewhere there. Now, if it's too big or too small, there is a scale tool. So you can click that when that's highlighted, and then we can just make it smaller. Use the move tool up here, or click M. We can kind of center it a bit. And then if we wanted to, I don't like how it's past this red line. I'm going to control click on all the text. Click on that, use the move tool again, and just move everything back a little bit so it's like there. And then we could also use 3D text down here to set up our basement, our slab, etc., etc. And then you would hit File, Save as Template. And then if you do that, which I'm not going to do because I already have mine, next time you open up SketchUp, you just say Start using SketchUp. For me, I have to go and actually select it because I didn't select it last time. So you would just normally say Start using SketchUp. And then you're going to have your legend, you're going to have everything set up for you. And then another nice thing you can do is if you go over to your materials tab and you go to in model, it's going to give us all the colors that are in the legend, plus the gray here. So if you don't want that, you could delete it out. And then what you can do with this is, I just need to make this a little smaller. So we need to have the folder created first. So I had a empty folder on my desktop called H2K palette. And then I went to add collection to favorites, select folder. So now you can see in this dropdown, if you go to the bottom, it will have your color palette there. And then you can just have that be defaulted all the time. So every time you open up SketchUp, you're just going to have your colors that are in here. And also you can, when you first make it, before you save it as a palette. So if we go to like in model, I believe, click that, and then we can name it what the color we want to name it. So that way, when you hover over top of the colors, it'll actually show you what they are. And then from there, you're basically ready to build your model. So we'll just do a quick little, I'll just show you how I model my files in SketchUp. So using the line tool, we always want to be on the green or the red. We go on red. So let's say we've got 15 feet, and then it bumps back, say 6, and then 12. You'd actually have measurements from when you were on site measuring the house. So let's just draw a building that looks something like this for our perimeter. Click there, close it in, then use the move tool. We'll just get it kind of in front of our basement. It wants to be blue. It could be a little finicky when you move it around. And then if this was our exterior dimensions, we could label that if we wanted to. But what I'm going to do is just double click, use the offset tool. So when I click anywhere on this perimeter and then I either pull out, and I'm not holding the mouse click, I just click it and let go. So if I pull out, I can make the perimeter bigger. You go in, you can make it smaller. So if we measured from the outside of the basement, you don't want to offset this by 1 foot. So 1, enter. And then because I had the whole thing highlighted, the exterior perimeter is still highlighted, and if I hit delete, it goes away. So now we've got our interior perimeter. I'm going to copy and paste this behind it, and then using the push-pull tool, so you can hit P or go up here, click that. We click on our surface, pull it up a little bit, and then we type in, let's say it's 7.9 feet in the basement, hit enter. So now we've got our basement drawn. And then for the main floor, it's supposed to be offset 1/2 foot instead of 1 foot. So if it's the same perimeter, I'm going to copy and paste it there, and then I'm going to pull out and type in 0.5, and then delete my interior perimeter. And then we'll make a copy of this, and then we're going to start with the header. So this is the floor that sits on the basement, essentially, is what it is. We'll use our push-pull tool, and let's say it's 10 inches. I can type 10 quotation mark, or I can type 0.83. Hit enter. And then with the push-pull tool, if you just hit Control, you don't have to hold it. I'll get a little plus icon next to my thing there. And then when I pull up this time, it'll keep the lines for the header. So let's say we pull up 8 feet. So now we've got our main floor. And then let's say our second floor is the same, but maybe we don't have the front bump out like so. We'll just delete this, copy and paste that, and then we'll use the push-pull tool, pull up 10 inches, and then let's say the second floor is also 8 feet, and we'd be done. So we can now assemble all of our 3D floors. So to get the basement and main floor to work properly, because we offset the basement by 1 foot and the main floor is offset only by 1/2 foot instead, there's a 1/2 foot difference between the two and the perimeter. So what you do is you pick a corner where you're going to place the main floor on. It doesn't matter. And then I'm going to just come over on the red axis, type 0.5. Then I'm going to come back on the green and type 0.5. And then if I go back, we're going to set this piece right on that little nub there. And to do that, we use the move tool. You want to come over and click on the same corner you're going to be placing it on and make sure you're on the bottom bit. And then we just come over here We set it down like so. And then there's just going to be, you can see the offset's the same all the way around. And this is because we're using interior dimensions. So, and then the second floor, we don't have to offset it. So I'm just going to make a copy. I'm going to click on the back bottom corner and place it there like so. So there we've got our house, and then we can use all of our colors. So let's just switch this to H2K palette. And let's say we've got, so I've used pink for vinyl. Let's say the second floor is all vinyl. We just color it in like so, and then maybe this is actually the, like the garage is on the other side of this. We don't model the garage, but this shared wall with the garage would get modeled differently than this because there's not going to be a vinyl on the inside of the garage wall. There's probably just going to be gypsum again. And then let's say maybe the front, we've got brick on the front of this house. Then we'll finish off this vinyl. And then if you measure at every corner the above grade height, you can go to that corner, click here, and then draw right down on the line. And let's say it was 2 feet. That was above grade here. If I type 2, enter, it's going to make us another little endpoint, which can be kind of hard to find sometimes, but there it is. You can just pull up to see and look in the bottom right corner. It says 2 feet. And then let's say on this side, it was only a foot. So 1, enter. There's my endpoint. And then you can come over here and find the other one. I'm going to say this is below ground. I'm going to say this is foundation, etc., etc. You do this all the way around. So I'm just going to freehand it rather than measure out every side, but you get the idea. Let's do something like this. And then because we got the garage there, this whole side is going to be underground. So underground, underground, underground. And then like so, let's pretend there's no pony walls. It's a full concrete foundation. So our house is going to look something like this. I'm going to color in the ceilings. And that's basically it. So what we can do now, and with this, it's going to be super easy. You can come over here. We can get our brick perimeter just by control clicking all the lines. We get our perimeter in the top for the brick. We can do the same for vinyl. And yeah, so, and then for like the second floor, because it's all vinyl, you could double click the perimeter here, hold shift, click on the floor, it gets rid of the floor, and then we just have the full perimeter selected, which we can see is 86. So now we know our second floor is 86 by 8. You know, our main floor, it's going to be 3 different pieces, and then our basement, well, depending, could be entered as a composite, or if it's all the same on the inside, whatever it would be. But what we need to do now is we're going to copy, paste this, place it behind, or, you know, set it up however you want, but this is just how I do it. Right click on that. When it's all selected, make it a group. Use the solid inspector tool, click fix all, and now we've got the volume for the house. We can copy that if we want. Click on our text tool, click on the roof here, pull up, click, paste, click off of it. You can easily see the volume, and if we click on this, it's going to give us the volume. And we still have this front model here to be able to click on, get our various surface areas. And then as well, we can get the below grade height easily because you can just control click around all of our below grade. And then the equation for getting average heights would just be you take that area of 604.09 feet, and then we would just divide it by the full basement perimeter, which if we come over here, double click, shift click, so it would be the surface area divided by 94. That would give us the average height below grade, which you need in Hot2000. And then for the last thing, we want to get our height from the lowest point that is like below grade, or almost below grade. So this would probably be our lowest point. If we just look around, that is indeed the lowest point. And then we would want to go from the very top all the way down there. You know, you could just, well, can't click on this one, but if you could, you'd have to click down every line like so. And then it's going to tell us it's 20.59. But what I like to do, and you can do this when it is a group, which is nice, use the line tool, click on the top corner here, And then when it's blue, just hold shift so it stays on the blue axis. And then we're just going to come down and click on that lowest point. So like right there. So now that line is the same length. And then if you go to tools, dimensions, click on the top part of the line, click on the bottom, pull over, so 20.59. So now we have access to everything that we need for Hot 2000. So that's just a brief little overview. So we'll be getting into maybe how to use SketchUp. Like I'll go through things a little simpler, step by step. Here's how you use the line tool. Here's how you use the eraser tool, getting perimeters, surface areas, blah, 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 blah. And then we'll also be getting into tutorials for Hot 2000 and stuff like that. That's going to be the main focus of this. This is pretty much all you're ever going to need to do in SketchUp. And then there's some extra little things like walkout basements can be a little tricky, but we'll get into that another time. So if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to like, subscribe, hit the bell. You know, it'd be nice to get some views. And also it'd be nice to help educate some energy advisors. I am by no means an expert, but I've got a good handle on SketchUp as well as Hot 2000. So yeah, we'll be going through how to model a house in Hot 2000 and stuff like that in the next video. So until then, hope everybody has a good day, and I'm out.